When you receive your template, this is what it's going to look like. I want to show you how easy it is to customize the template to suit your own business just within a few hours or even less. And this will include changing the fonts, the colors, the images, making a couple of other kind of tweaks to the design so that it will suit a different type of business. So we'll take this quite lively, fun website design for a sort of celebration cake business. We'll turn it into a website for an elegant wedding cake business that is a bit more kind of elevated in its design, a bit simple, and a bit more elegant, as I said. So the rest of the video will be a time lapse, just so you can quickly see how straightforward the process is, and I'll do a voiceover over the top so I can explain what I'm doing. So jumping into that time lapse, the first thing I did was to update the fonts. Now I am doing here exactly what I tell you not to do, which is picking my fonts in Squarespace. I always recommend creating a style guide first, so when you actually get into Squarespace you can kind of just jump right in and update those fonts. But if you choose to do it this way, you can experiment with the various styles that are available within Squarespace. They have a large list of Adobe fonts and Google fonts for you to choose from. Once you've selected your fonts, you can then apply them to the different elements. So I'm going through the headings, the paragraph fonts, and then the buttons. My goal here was to just make everything a bit softer, more elegant, and less in your face. The style we had for the previous site was quite sort of like bright and punchy. So for this new site, which was to be a bit more elegant, we were just kind of softening everything down. Now I'm updating the color palette. So you can see here there are suggested palettes from Squarespace. Again, you'll have created your style guide so you can pop those colors straight in and they get applied immediately to every element within your site. So that's really the huge thing when you are making these updates to the templates. As soon as you add that color palette, the whole site changes, and it's really a great way to give the whole thing a completely new look. So now I am just working through the different elements that exist on the site. So we had these outlines and underlines in the template. I tried a few combinations. As you can see, this is a feature built into Squarespace, but at the end I just thought none of these really matched the vibe and the brand that I was creating with the more elegant wedding cake business, so I just removed them altogether. Now I am updating our section that shows the different products we offer. I have updated the text. Now I'm updating the images, and I'm also removing the rounded corners. Really simple to do that, and I just felt again that kind of matched better with the look we were going for. The next thing we'll do once we've finished this section is to look at these drop downs. So I'm just lightening up the thickness of the line between those to match better with the font. Again, working through the sections, updating backgrounds just to suit the new brand. In this case, I added a more wedding style of photo and then tweaked some individual colours. A great new feature here is creating a saved section. So because I took off the rounded corners, it was going to be quicker to save that original section and then just add it in further down the page. Again, just making changes to those underlines, playing around with the colours to tie everything in and bring it in line. Once I update these final few images, the last thing to do was update the newsletter block and the footer, where I just updated some of the backgrounds, the font styles, and the underlines. And when we go into the next section of this video, we'll go through it all in more detail so you can really see the difference that was created just by making these quick updates to the colors, the fonts, and then making some smaller tweaks to the design. So in real time, that actually just took me 15 minutes. Of course, I am a website designer. This is what I do every day, so I wouldn't be surprised if it took you a little bit longer, but I do think you can customize any of the pages on the template within really a couple of hours, particularly if you've done the planning beforehand. So you've created your little style guide that I take you through in the course that goes with this template. So you've picked out your colors and your fonts, and you've also taken some time to think about what text you're going to include on the page. So you've thought about your different sections, where they're going to link to, and what kind of text you're going to use to engage with your audience and the customers. So we'll quickly just talk through what we've done here. So obviously I've changed the color palette to a softer, more muted palette of colors. We've got the greys and blues and then the whites. I've updated some of the images. I didn't do all of them just for speed, so that would definitely have added on another 15 minutes at least. And I have also updated the fonts. So I've made our heading font more of an elegant serif font. So that's what we call a font that has these sort of decorative ends at the end of the letters. I've kept the body font, so that's the font that we use for paragraph text, longer form pieces of text. I've kept that as a really clear sans serif font, but that could be updated as well. I changed the buttons, so they were a bit more delicate, a bit softer, so they have the simple, really thin outline, and they are not block capitals as they were before. You could upload a logo into this section here, or just write the name of your bakery in that heading font. I've kept the scroller in here. I think we can kind of get away with that on any type of website, and I think just by changing the font it does become quite elegant. You can see here I have updated the texts that would go along with these images. So depending on what you sell in your bakery, you can modify the images and the text to really correspond with that, and then direct people to the menu or to any of the other pages on the site. I've also kept this how to order from us section, just again lightened the styling so it was a bit less in your face and a bit softer. And you can also update the text that goes in these sections, so it doesn't have to be a how to order. It could be something more applicable to your business. It could be something to do with your story. It could be maybe your 3 categories of products, and then within the drop down you could go into more detail about what they were. So you can really do anything there. I updated the background image just to be a bit more wedding-y, get the florals in there, the soft fabrics, but maintained this as a slider with testimonials from customers. You might have spotted that I saved a section. So this is a new feature within Squarespace where you can take one of these sort of full sections that you've built and then add it to a library to then reuse again and again. The reason I did that for this homepage update was because when I updated these images I removed the rounded corners because I felt that fit better with this style. Of course I would still need to update these actual images and the text, but as you know, we're just doing a quick update to kind of give the whole thing a facelift. Here I didn't mention this at the very top of the page, but on our original design, some of the words had those outlines and underlines. I didn't think that really fit the style of this site, so I just removed those there. But I did keep them at these button links because I thought that double underline was subtle enough that it matched the new brand of this business. I swapped around some of the colours, and you can see once you set up your base 5 colours, you can just edit those colours by section and they're all in there. So you don't need to keep going to find your colours. You do that once and then they're all there for you to chop and change as you see fit. The last thing was to just make a small change to the font in the footer section. You would link up your Instagram account here, and there we have a brand new website. So if we just take a look at that side by side with where we started, you can see how different the feel of this site is just within, let's say, an hour or so. So I hope that kind of puts your mind at ease, so it gives you the confidence of what you can do with a Squarespace template for the bakery business you run.